Hey, it's Mike Rogers here with you with the Mike Rogers Show. And today I have a very special guest. He's a rock and roller and he just put out a new album and it's really getting really good reviews, lots of airplay all over the world. And well, let me have him introduce himself to you. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to Rob Moss. Hey, Rob.
Well, hello. Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on. So yes, I'm Rob Moss. And this is my new album, Rob Moss.
Hold it closer to the camera. What's it say?
Hold it closer.
Yeah, Rob Moss, Skin Tight Skin. Now with more rockets.
That's the title, Now with More Rockets, because there's two songs that have to do with rockets, the first song and the last song.
Oh, really? So what
yeah, rockets in order to get back to my wife, because we're far away.
Oh, where's your wife? Where's your wife?
Well, right now she's at work.
Oh,
right now I'm in our temporary apartment. We just moved to Boston. We're put up in this place. It's like living in an Airbnb with a bunch of other people's stuff, and all our stuff's in storage. And at least we're not homeless. And this is where I'm talking from today.
Wow, that's cool. So, where did you move from?
We moved from Portland, Oregon.
So you didn't like Portland, Oregon? Oregon?
Portland, we moved there in 2009. We're really comfortable on the East Coast. We like the West Coast too. And we've been looking for an opportunity to get here. And my wife got a great opportunity to work at a company here in Boston. I'm a freelancer. I work from home. I can work anywhere. So I'm here.
Wow. So your wife is Chinese?
Yes.
Wow. I've been to Shanghai 3 times, but the last time I was there was like 1988 or 89 or something. So I'm sure it's totally changed.
Oh, completely. I've been there how many times? Probably in the order of 17, 18 times since I met the woman who became my wife. And yes, it changes incredibly. Every time you go back, although we've not been back in ages because of the pandemic, and frankly, some of the stuff that's going on, I'm not so anxious to get back there anytime soon. Anyway.
Yeah, I imagine so. You know, back in the 80s, a friend of mine and I used to go to Shanghai because in the early 1900s or so, a lot of foreign embassies had their embassies there. And I don't know about now, but it used to be a gold mine of Art Deco furniture.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of Art Deco buildings, so I'm sure there's a lot of furniture that was built
so we used to go. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, if you go to there's the French concession there and the British concession, these areas that were developed during this, because there was so much trade going on. I mean, Shanghai is the place where you do business in China, or traditionally was before Shenzhen. In fact, my wife's uncle told me a joke when I first met him. Of course, he told it in Mandarin or Shanghainese dialect, and my wife translated, or actually, I think it was one of her cousins translated for me, and says, "Okay, a Martian lands in China." Okay, and he goes around from city to city, and when he gets to let's see, he starts off in Beijing. And there they want to know, could we sort of set up some diplomacy? We want our governments to work together. And he's okay, that's very good. So then he goes to Shanghai, and they don't care about the politics or anything like that. They just want to do business because Shanghai is all about business. What can we trade? How can we do business? So finally, he's on his trip and he goes further south. And now he is in Hong Kong, in that area. And they look at him and say, "You're interesting looking, Mr. Martian. What's the best way to eat you?" You have to know the Cantonese. The Cantonese eat anything and everything.
You know what they say in Japan about the Chinese? They say the Chinese will eat anything with 4 legs except a table and chair.
True.
I love China though. You know, every time I go there or went there, I would gain so much weight because I would eat breakfast twice, lunch twice, dinner twice every day, and it was so delicious, but just get so full. And I would come back to Japan and people would be like, "You've gotten so fat." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." Time to diet.
Yes. It is a problem going there.
Yeah. So that's really nice though, that and your wife speaks perfect English then too.
Very much so. She has people talk to her and they think she's born here because she has no accent at all. And part of that is when she was in high school, she was listening to Voice of America.
Oh.
And she was, totally getting into it. And she always knew from early on, she wants to get to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would be taking English classes in grade school and middle school and high school. And her English was better than her teachers. So
she was a smart ass student. Probably not.
No, absolutely. It's totally smart ass student. Both her parents are professors at Fudan University. So she has that background. Anyhow.
Okay. Anyhow. Yeah. So that's a great background. So, tell us about you, Rob. We want to know about you. How did you get started in music? Like when you were a kid, did your parents make you play piano or something like that? How did you get started in music?
Okay. The first instrument I took was in elementary school. I played cornet, just like a little trumpet.
Yeah.
I was terrible and did not last very long on that. Probably sometime in junior high school, I started playing bass and got together with some friends. We started writing songs, listening to what some of the people who were bands who were older than us, but in our area were doing, because there was a couple independent records that got released, and we were aware of what was going on, even though most of the bars there, you have to be 18 or older to get in. So we couldn't see many of the shows at that time. There was no all ages shows. That came years later. So we started writing songs. This was 1979. Then this whole sort of the Washington, D.C. hardcore scene happened. And I was in a band at that time, 1981, one for a while. Then a band called Artificial Peace, which was Discord put out on the Flex Your Head compilation album, and later released a bunch of tracks in 2010 after the band had long been finished. But after I was in Artificial Peace, I joined Government Issue for a while, toured with them, went all over the United States. And after that, really didn't think I would play music again. I just sort of got involved in other things, and but always enjoyed music, always loved it. And 2016 or so, I got a guitar and just taught myself to play. I used to be a bass player and got right back into songwriting. Put some songs of mine on Facebook. A friend of mine called me and said, "Hey, I have a home recording studio. If you want to record these, we can do that." So I did that. And
that's really cool of your friend.
Yeah, and he didn't realize how long it would take. And I don't think it was a little bit hard with his wife as well in the end. But it's music, it's rock and roll. What can you do?
Yeah.
So that album came out in 2020. It was the first time I sang lead vocals. I was not really happy with what I did with it. Kept writing more songs and approached it very differently this time. This time I got some of my own recording equipment so I could record at home, take my time with it, not be rushed.
Yeah.
And put out this record here, this album. And there's a different lead guitarist on every song. I play rhythm guitar and sing. So there's people who I knew from a long time ago playing on it. Others who are, friends or friends of friends. So there's a big list. So if people go to my page on Bandcamp, they can find it there. If you include the link, people can get there and they can sort of see everything is listed out, who plays on what song, and they can listen to the songs and see if they like them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to list your, if you have one, a web page and a video of your band. And I'm going to link to where Bandcamp. You can go to Bandcamp and buy your music and do that. But there's a trade, Rob.
Of course.
Of course.
I'm waiting.
You've got to get me 3 subscribers. How's that?
Easy. Done.
Okay. So just get people to subscribe to this channel, because I
already have.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying to make a worldwide indies music channel, and we only do indies bands. I know there's indies channels that do videos, but I want to talk to the bands, and I want to know about, things that you don't normally hear, from bands, like, about their childhood and how they got started. And I think that's very interesting for people. And I think so far the results after only 2 months are really good. Anyway, so you played the clarinet and
cornet.
Oh, cornet.
Cornet. It's like a little trumpet.
So yeah, actually I played the trumpet in when I was a kid, and I was terrible too. How did you get started in that? I mean, did they just say
it was public school, elementary school, and back then there was always music programs in every school in the United States, because music was important then.
Mm-hmm.
And you would sort of sit down with a music teacher, and you would talk and sort of see what he would think or she would think you might be suited for.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I turned up cornet, or cornet, and but like I said, it didn't last too long. But I have friends who've been playing music for forever, and fortunately, they're really good. So
yeah. So what was the first record you ever bought? Now you can be embarrassed. It's okay if it was like Olivia Newton-John or something like that, or Debbie Gibson. That's fine.
Not embarrassing at all. It was actually. It's Deep Purple's Made in Japan.
Oh, really?
That live album. That was the first album I bought.
Wow. And
still a great album today.
Yeah, it's still a great album, and very popular in Japan too. Lots of kids grew up listening to Deep Purple in this country. So
Sure.
Okay, so then what was the first rock concert you went to that you paid your own money that you went to? What was that?
It may have been Foghat and Cheap Trick, or it may have been Blue Oyster Cult and Cheap Trick.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 1979 at the Capitol Center.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Cheap Trick a bunch of times in that era, and they played in Japan early on, and a phenomenal band, absolutely incredible.
I've met them in Japan, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And really nice guys. So you went to your first concert in 1979. Did you kind of miss out on the very first punk boom that went on?
Yeah, I was not quite. I was too young for that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of 77, 78.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had that music and I was listening to it too, but if you wanted to see a punk show, you had to go to a bar back then. Yeah. And you couldn't get in. We were too young. Actually, I did get snuck into a place called the Psychedelic, which was probably around that same year, 1979, to see local bands like the Slicky Boys. In fact, one of the original singer from the Slicky Boys does a duet on my album, Martha Hull.
Wow.
We both sing a song together on this. So I like to be able to, when I do these types of projects and I find out who can I collaborate with, I try to find people whose music inspired me or I listened to early on, and try them. And more often than not, they're incredibly happy to work on a song together. So that was early on how I was doing it.
Okay, so this record is with Rockets, right?
Now with more Rockets.
Now with more Rockets. That sounds like some gasoline commercial or something like that. So how did you come up with the idea for Now with More Rockets besides those 2 songs? Or did you write the songs and think, okay, no, I want this to be, like the name of my record? Or how did that happen?
Well, actually, I think this may have been one of the first songs. No, the very first song I wrote for this new batch was a song called A Donkey, which is the second song on the album. But I think the second song I wrote, which is the first song on the album, is called A Rocket Ship to You. And then I have a song on the closing song, the 11th song on the album is called I'm on a Rocket Ship, and then in parentheses, heading my way back home. So I wanted to bookend the album with those songs. When it was come time to think of a title, it was like, okay, we got these two songs with rockets. Now with more rockets, because there's more rockets.
Yeah. Wow. So, and how is it your album being received? You're getting good reviews, a lot of records.
Reviews are great. It's getting played on, you're playing it. It's getting played on other stations in the US, other hosts, as well as Canada, a couple in the UK. In fact, I think it's playing on Steve Vincent's Mystery City show tonight, going live. And it's played on some other shows in the UK, some in Europe, some in France. So Australia, I think at least on 2 different shows in Australia I'm aware of. So yeah, it's great to get music out there, have people hear it, have people respond to it.
So
we do it.
So, it's like, of course, it's like the internet age, and it's much easier to get airplay, especially if you're doing cool music. And with internet radio, as opposed to the way it used to be with the what do you call it, the traditional media, or what's it called,
like what do you mean, like
the old stale media.
Okay.
But so what do you think about internet radio and everything like that?
It's great in the sense that there's so many choices of places to listen to, and you have in many cases you can listen to it live, in which I was making lunch today and I was listening to a guy's show. In fact, afterwards, I was curious about a song and I sent him a message and asking him about it. And then on a lot of others, you can, especially if they're on in different time zones, you can just go and use Mixcloud or some of these other platforms and play it back when it's convenient to you. So it's great to be able for hosts to be able to bring new music to lots of different people.
I've always I've been doing internet radio for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, and it's always confused me why DJs on an internet station will play, like Van Halen or stuff that's played on FM radio. I can't understand why they do that. Do you have any idea on that?
There's an audience who just wants their classic rock, and that's all they want. They don't want anything new. So there's a place for it. But at least there's a place for people like us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't like it. No, just kidding. So okay. So, are you touring now? Are you getting ready to tour, or what are you doing about?
I'm not touring, and I'm not really playing live. When I first, but I guess I played in bands in the early '80s and toured in all over the United States. I didn't get a chance to go to Europe, but touring back then would be like on the Government Issue 1983 tour. We had John Stabb, the vocalist's dad's old Buick, with a U-Haul full of gear. Just the 4 of us, no roadies, no drivers, no support staff, no cell phones to line things up, a bunch of change and payphone. We'd play CBGBs and places like that all over the country. We would be driving. It was basically Tom, the guitar player, and I doing pretty much all of the driving. Some nights we would crash at a fan's house, sometime, which would be range from a suburban house where mom would feed us and do our laundry. And then the next night we'd be in a squat somewhere and it would be dirty and filthy. Or the other night would be, we'd have to drive to the next town to get to the next show. So there was no sleeping. So I've done that. Touring today is a bit different, luckily. But part of it is the fact that, if people check out if you look at the personnel list
Oh,
on my
yeah.
album,
Mm.
there's so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Every song has a different lead guitar player on it. And on some songs, there's a saxophone player on one song, there's another piano player on another. It would be very difficult to recreate my songs with a standard 4-piece band. And the fact is, I really enjoy songwriting and recording at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And I'm not interested so much in putting on a show, finding out that, our gear didn't get there, or it's not working properly, or the sound person is not really into it, and we're not happy with how it sounds. I don't want to go through that at this point. I like being able to have control over the music. So recording, songwriting, that's really my interest at this point.
To back him up, and they would tour Japan, and the shows were great. People loved them. So you can do that sort of thing. I think would be anyways, it's cost effective, that's for sure.
It is, and it's awesome that Glenn Matlock can do it. But of course, he's Glenn Matlock. All you have to put is Glenn Matlock, of the Sex Pistols on the marquee, and people will come. So you need that heavy name recognition to pull that off. I'm just me.
I don't mean this to be an advertisement, but on today's Mike Rogers Show YouTube channel, I'm interviewing a guy named Gaku Kamachi, and he runs one of the coolest labels in Japan. So I think you should watch that video, because he explains how foreign bands can get a Japanese release. And it's kind of a little bit complicated and a little bit difficult. But if a guy like you who writes lots of songs, you must have like 200 or 1,000 songs, right?
No, because I have to do I have to pay the bills. I have to do a real job. So I write song on the side. It takes me more than a year to put out an album in terms of writing the music, recording it, getting it mixed. So no, I don't have a 200 songs in my back pocket.
Well, but anyway, so if it takes you a year, you can plan ahead, and that is really, really, really important for making a Japan release. So you can talk to him or hear him talk and explain the process about getting a Japan release and everything. It basically, for me, it boils down to, Jesus, you just have to have a plan and follow these the steps of the plan, and then you can have a Japan release.
Okay, well, I will definitely watch it.
So
the people in Japan can get my CD now. They can get it on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
It ships. It's it costs a bit more for shipping, or they can get the digital download. So certainly.
So a Japan release would have unique songs that aren't available on Bandcamp.
Okay.
So that's a really important thing, and they're not available on Spotify or anything like that. They're going to be exclusive to this CD or whatever, or record. I think they're releasing a lot of records in Japan now. But in fact, I'm getting off the subject here. In fact, a very big collectors, CD collectors, used CD collectors company in Japan has stopped buying used CDs. So used CDs are going to disappear before vinyl in this country.
Really?
Yeah. They just announced that like September 7th or something like that.
So are listeners in Japan buying new vinyl or new CDs, or both?
Well, they're buying both, but now all bands who release records, and when I say records, I mean that inclusive to CDs. Everybody's releasing vinyl, and bands are constantly contacting me. Mike, we want to send you our new record. I'm like, no, don't waste your money, because I don't even have a turntable. And they're like, what, are you like some sort of caveman? Which is reverse. It used to be like, I don't even have a CD. They're like, are you some kind of caveman? So, okay. So you have no plans for touring this time?
Not at now. Things can change.
Yeah.
Never say never. But,
never say never.
Right
no.
now, it's songwriting and recording for me.
Okay, so I don't know if,
and I have ideas for songs for the next album, which I'm excited to do, but it's going to be a while. So
tell us about your plans for the next album, then, Rob.
No, I can't.
We want to know. We want to know. So you can give us a little sprinkle of pepper or something like that, right?
These are early ideas. It's too early to say at this point, and who knows where they're going to go. But I have some topics I want to write about, some people I want to write about, as far as song subject matter. There's people I've met since, or people I've been introduced to who I want to play on my upcoming songs. But I need to talk to them first to make sure. And even then, a lot of times I've had people where, yes, we're totally on for it. And then I get a call back saying, oh, well, my band's on tour right now, so I don't have time unless you can wait. So it's the process.
Yeah. I get that a lot too. So any last words or advice that you want to give to basically the Japanese audience and to a Western audience about selling your record or buy my record or whatever you want to say, Rob? This is your chance. Go for it.
But you're asking, well, I've already kind of pitched it. I mean, what is it?
Yeah, I know, but I mean a last minute pitch.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay.
Instead of me doing it, I can do it. You know, Rob, Moss's new record is called, wait a minute. What is the song I play? I play this song a lot. 2 slices of toast or bread?
No, it's 2 slices of bread.
Okay. 2 slices of bread. I toast my bread always. That's why I'm confused.
So do I. I'll tell you what, I made toast this morning too. In fact, it's the. But do you eat a lot of toast? You eat rice or bread or toast?
I try not to eat either one.
Okay, that's true. So the album is. I'll start again.
No problem.
All right. Well, the album title is called Now with More Rockets. You can get it on Bandcamp. There's musicians that are way better than I am who play on these songs, make me sound great. So that's what I do. No, this is crap.
No, it's okay. So actually, though, in Japan, Bandcamp is not that well known.
Well, how can we make that well known?
So like doing by doing this. So Bandcamp, you can buy Rob's new CD on Bandcamp, and there's a bunch of all-star musicians on the record. Every song has a different all-star guitarist appearing, and it's called with More Rockets is the name of the album, right?
That's it. Now with More Rockets. Rob Moss and Skin Tight Skin.
Okay, so, and this is one more thing that you're gonna have to do when you do interviews in Japan. And this is really hard. People are always like, "What?" So, what is you got any last words or messages to your Japanese audience?
Well, of course. My message to people in Japan is to listen with kind of open ears. And I know that Japanese audiences have welcomed different bands and musicians from all over the world and been incredibly enthusiastic about them, whether that was Deep Purple or Cheap Trick or so many others, that the reception is just unlike any place else. If I had the opportunity to go on tour, I would definitely play Japan live. Absolutely, that would be the first place I would want to go, because going somewhere else, you may get good reception, you may not, but if you go to Japan, it's going to just blow you away.
Okay, thank you, Rob Moss.
Well, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it.
You have a You have a 17-year-old kid?
Yes.
Wow.
And I started late.
I thought.
Yeah. And he took the picture on this.
Oh,
actually.
really? Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest was Mr. Rob Moss. He has a new record out. It's on Bandcamp, and it's called "And Now with More Rockets" or "With More Rockets." And
now with more rockets.
I actually read some reviews on this record, and they were rave reviews. The reviews were really, really good. And I was very surprised. And I thought, I think I was the first one to play this song. Was it Two Slices of Toast?
I think you did. That the song Two Slices of Bread, which Sal Baglio plays lead guitar on and piano on, who's also he's a guy, he's here in Boston. He's a, all his life guy, Boston guy. He was in a band called the Stompers in the 80s. And now he does a band called the Amplifier Heads.
I know that band.
Yeah.
I know the Amplifier Heads. I've played them before.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so
Awesome.
cool. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Rob Moss. If you like this video, please come down here and click subscribe and like, and go to Rob's videos and his webpage and check it out and become part of the Rob Moss blossoming worldwide fan club. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, I'll see you.
I was gonna say, hang on. Subscribe to Mike. Okay. Subscribe to Mike Rogers' YouTube channel. You do yourself a favor. No, that's pretty lame.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
No, that was lame.
Okay, do it again.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. Right now, subscribe to Mike Rogers' YouTube channel. Now, push the button.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.